That's just the way this Ranger season has gone, though. It just
Honestly.
feels like
Yeah.
everything that could possibly break not in their favor, that's exactly what happened. But I mean, I always like to say that good teams make their own luck. And I feel like that is kind of what we're seeing here. We are back with another episode of Up in the Blue Seats, your favorite Rangers podcast from the New York Post. And Happy New Year from your hosts, me, Mollie Walker, and former Ranger Brian Boyle. We went on a little hiatus for the holiday, so we have plenty of things to discuss today. A lot has happened in just 2 weeks. So let's get started, shall we? I think we should start with Thursday night's 5-2 loss to the Sabres. The Rangers are now 5-11-4 on home ice this season. That's 5 wins in 20 tries inside Madison Square Garden for those counting at home. Last regulation win was November 24th against the Blues.
Not great.
Just let that have some air for a moment. I also last night, while I was on column duty, I had the time to go through and count how many periods the Rangers have actually scored in this season because I figured it had to be something pretty crazy. And they've only scored after last night, they've only scored in 24 of 60 total periods. Before last night, scoring in 2 of 3, it was under 40% in periods at MSG this season, which is pretty wild and crazy. So, Brian, what was your evaluation of last night's loss?
Um, uh, so I like we've talked about it before, and there's certainly luck or lack of luck involved in scoring. That you have to be lucky in certain spots to get chances to score. I I watched last night, and I don't know if it's a confidence thing because with putting it in the actual net, I don't know if it's a confidence thing or just a lack of understanding and poise. And maybe it's a little bit of both, but just fundamental things that NHLers have. Not everyone, like everyone brings different strengths to a lineup, but around the net, like there were times in that third period last night where they had chances. And either it was like a hard rebound that they wanted to bury on the ice, maybe because they haven't scored enough, or they would get a rebound in the slot and have a chance just to turn. The goalie was, he's kind of let him off the hook by resetting it out to the point to try and get another point shot and let, the Buffalo defense find their checks. And it just, I don't know if it's like a hurried approach or a panic thing it's just a
Looking for the
lack of,
play.
yeah, or not even looking for the perfect play, looking for like maybe they tried that and failed. So it's like, all right, we're not going to force the perfect play when that's the time to do it. It's just sort of like a Murphy's Law thing right now. Anything that can go wrong will go wrong. I mean, look at Zucker's goal. Come on, it goes off his butt and over the head, and it's in the net. It's 3-1, and I mean, and then you get some life, and Troach gets a goal. It's a bad goal. Like it shouldn't. It's a great shot by him. That's like the kind of the poise I'm talking about. The goalie's stance was a little bit off. He saw a hole, he put it in there, and it's a good goal from Troach in my mind. Like that's a high IQ play. The goalie should have that, but he didn't. So he takes advantage of that. And then okay, you get some life, and then you had a 4-minute power play, and we all sort of know what happened on that. And I'm not even putting that on Quickie. Just it's. Samuelson puts it in a perfect spot. Quickie does what he's taught to do and has been taught to do forever. What are the odds that it goes in there? And then you get what you get there. I just can't believe more pucks didn't go in. And they say gripping it too tight or whatever. I just think you need an understanding of how goals are scored, what goalies are going to do on rebounds, when they're scrambling, where there's net. Not every goalie does the exact same thing, but they're pretty similar. The goalies nowadays are robots, and you can figure it out from there. Like a guy that is still effective is a James Van Riemsdyk. He studies that. He watches and he studies that, and he's at the net a lot. So now that the Rangers are getting to the net more, it's not just get there and okay, the job's done. It has to go in the net. And we've heard now that Chris Kreider's no longer at the Rangers, he's done way more media, and he had a sit down on a podcast and explained to people how like he studied the aspect of scoring from around the net, and it led to more goals for him because he was in those positions more. So I don't know. I think there might be a little bit of that, not just it's all bad luck and we're trying and we're going to get there and blah blah blah. It's you need to not change the approach, but alter it slightly or add something to the approach.
Moneyball was the word that Chris Kreider told Larry when he asked him about his net front presence. I think it was a couple of years ago now, but I mean,
Look, I scored 13 goals a year. I understand. I didn't have a ton of time on the ice, but when I was around the net, I thought I had a little bit of an understanding. Did I execute it? I mean, no, probably there was hundreds of guys literally better than me at it, but they should have more goals. They're in the right spots. They work so hard. They played so much good hockey. They shouldn't be where they're at.
do you think it's, I mean, at this point, it definitely has become mental, that's for sure. But do you just start doing crazy drills around the net in practice? Like, do you have to work at it more? Like, what's the solution?
I mean, yeah, it is that it's and watching like watching goals go in the net and how they go in the net. And I mean, you'd go back and watch yourself score goals, put goals in the, God bless you, put
Thank
goals
you.
in the net. And there are different ways to do it, but the idea every single practice trying to score a lot of goals is the starting point. Like I'm not doing the drills to just do the drills. And at this point in the season, it's so hard to practice. And the morning skates are pretty similar. That's league wide. Go out with an intensity to try and score goals. Might help. And they might very well be doing that. I've been to two or three practices this year, and I see down one side guys are shooting, trying to shoot more. That's step one. You have to do those things, but then in the practice with the goalie in the net, you have to try to score the goals.
I mean, I feel like they've had quite a few very deflating moments over this season, but that Lafreniere turnover probably skyrocketed to one of the top just because of the nature of the game, how they were playing at that moment, making the push. It's a one goal game. They get a 4 minute power play,
Mhm.
prime opportunity. And it was just a flippant pass at the top of the zone, easily picked off by Ryan McLeod. Samuelson has no problem getting around him and just roofs one on
Yeah.
Quick. And I did see that a lot of people thought that it was a soft goal from Jonathan Quick, but what a tough angle he got that in off of. And for me, I just was still hung up on the turnover, I think. So
Well, yeah,
it,
yeah, that's what happened. I mean, that's how he got down the ice. I give credit to Buffalo. It was a well executed kill. And Matthias Samuelsson has been, I think, last year at some point in the beginning of the year, or I mean, they wanted him run out of town in Buffalo. Now he's been their top defenseman. He is their most relied upon defenseman, which is, I guess great to see. But that is my point. Like that, you see goals like that across the league from that angle going in that spot. And if you can execute it, it works because that's how goalies play the position. And he understands that. Now, do I want my defenseman when we're up a goal, killing a 4 minute power play, trying that shot? If you miss, it gets wrapped around the glass and the Rangers go down 3-on-1. So I got to give the kid credit. He's just whatever. They're on a heater. They've won 10 in a row. He's probably like, screw it. And that's the difference right there. It's not going like that for the Rangers. So why would they even try that? He puts the nail in the coffin with that shot, which I think he shouldn't even take. And maybe Jonathan Quick's like, there's no way he's throwing it. He'd throw a soft one for a whistle, and then you got to start in your own zone. That's a good play in my mind. Putting it in the net, okay, well, it better work.
too.
If it doesn't work, you're getting in trouble. So, it was just such a nice microcosm for the game. Like, why would he even shoot that? He's at such a bad angle. He's a defenseman up in the rush on a penalty kill late in the game, up a goal, and he did it. And I'm like, all right, well, kids these days, I guess.
That's just the way this Rangers season has gone, though. It just
Honestly,
feels
yeah.
like everything that could possibly break not in their favor, that's exactly what happened. But I mean, I always like to say that good teams make their own luck. And I feel like that is kind of what we're seeing here. Because that was just what a horrible break that was. But
No.
at the same time, I mean, when it comes to Lafreniere, I mean, obviously we've it's been beating a dead horse at this time. At this point, obviously he has not been the player that the Rangers have needed him to be, thought he could be, who anybody thought he could be. He was the consensus top pick.
Mm.
The Rangers weren't going to take anybody else, But focusing on this season in particular, because the narrative has been he hasn't gotten the chance. He hasn't gotten a long enough runway on the first power play, top 6 minutes. Well, this season, he definitely has. This season, he has been parked on both of those parts of the game that everybody said he need to have to get going, and it just has not made a difference at all. So I think
Well,
that kind of goes into the sample size.
yeah, if you look at the whole thing, it's probably, he's not where he wants to be or where people want him to be. I mean, I put a lot of weight in like the Winter Classic game itself. There's so much around it. It's such a big moment that I looked at it. It's not a playoff game, but it's 2 points, but it's more than a regular season game. And we'll see
Well,
how your best players do, right? And he was great. He had three primaries, like all over the ice. He had his fingerprints all over that game. So, all right, it's there. He's shown it at times, and then you want it to be a little more consistent. And then that's like if you're the coaching staff, you see what he's capable of, and you want to put him in those spots. Same goes for a lot of guys. Obviously, Mika's heating up. He was excellent, obviously, and historically excellent in the Winter Classic game. And he continues, in my mind, what he's done, 200 feet has been excellent. Like if pucks go in the net more for the team, we're talking about Lafreniere differently. And for him, in terms of goal scoring, yeah, maybe a few more go in for him scoring, but also like he makes a play and his line mate scores, and then he feels better. It's across the board for all of them. And usually, what happens is you shut down. They haven't done that. They've played hard hockey, and I know people are probably frustrated. And you just lost to the Buffalo Sabres at home. Well, are they the Buffalo Sabres that you're used to? No, not right now. They're not. That is, there's so much to be frustrated about, but this team has not, they've not quit on the coach, they've not quit on each other. It's just not going well in terms of putting the puck in the net. It's the same. We talk about it every single week. It's like that's what they have to do. They have to put it in the net.
you mentioned the Winter Classic, and what an unbelievable game that was, just in terms of the on ice product from the Rangers.
Mhm.
Um,
They look
they
fast.
they looked fabulous. It
Yeah.
was one of their most, maybe even their most dominant game of the season, even when you take into consideration who they're playing. I know the Panthers are hurt too, but so were they, So,
Yeah.
um, and the stage, it's a high profile event, a lot of eyes. They're coming into the game with an undefeated record, undefeated franchise record in outdoor
Yeah.
games. That's a lot of pressure to live up to. And they delivered
Yeah.
in as much as they possibly could. My problem is why does that sort of product and that sort of effort, it feels like it only comes out when there's a long losing streak leading into it, a high profile event like that. It just doesn't seem like they have that consistent fire on a game to game basis. It takes these, sort of moments or circumstances to get that kind of effort out of them. And that's, you want it to be consistent. And
Mm.
consistency has been the biggest issue with this Rangers team this season.
Yeah, I mean that's every team this season, it seems like, save for a few. And in the Winter Classic game, Florida was buzzing. They came out extremely strong, and Igor was Igor for the first, I would say, 7 or 8 minutes, and the Rangers got to their game after that. And that is like that's what a team does. It's not perfect from start to finish usually, and it's not going to be against a team like that who's playing, at home, whatever. They're not obviously at home, they're in a baseball park, but like that is this year is just so hard. I mean, covering it, Molly, you're exhausted. I'm exhausted. Like it's so much going on every single night because they have to, condense the thing for the Olympics. That the IOC, I guess, snuck up on them. It surprised them. The rink's not ready. They only had 7 years to build the friggin' thing. I'm not gonna go down. That makes me so mad. Those people, that
Have
whole
have to. We've got plenty of Olympic talk on deck. Don't worry, friends.
corrupt. Anyways, it's just so hard to manufacture that. They're literally exhausted. Add in the injuries, guys up and down, and asking top six guys to play, heavy minutes because you have to. All these points matter. We've seen teams have losing. A lot of teams have, you know, it's a joke with Edmonton because every year they start off poorly and then they become Edmonton again. And Connor McDavid's on another planet. Um, but with the exception of the three central teams, essentially, and in Minnesota probably did struggle a little bit too when Zuccarello was out. So not even that, but like Dallas has been pretty consistent, although they've had a winless streak, and then Colorado's on a different planet too. So like every other team has gone through weeks or a week here and a week there where it's like we can't win, we can't do anything. And now if you're not getting goals to kind of you win games that you're not really supposed to, it looks kind of like we're seeing.
We're talking about, I feel like Artemi was on the ice every other shift
Yeah.
Thursday night.
Yeah.
Like I feel like they really, I mean, that's just how they are, but I notice it very much so Thursday night.
He's gonna have a long rest. 'Cause
Yeah,
they're not in.
that's true. That is true. Um, you mentioned Shesterkin and his otherworldly play in the Winter Classic. Well, the Rangers are not going to have that for a bit of time here.
Hmm.
The injury bug has come for all this season, but this one for the Rangers, they went for the jugular this time because
Yeah.
this set of injuries that they just got are backbreakers. I mean, Adam Fox is back on long-term injured reserve with a new injury, a lower
Yeah.
body injury. His earliest return is the 31st in Pittsburgh.
Ugh.
So
Yeah.
basically the rest of this month. And that's not even a guarantee. The verbiage that was used was he will be reevaluated once he's able to come off. So not even a guarantee that he'll be back in the lineup then. And then Igor Shesterkin, lower body injury, the Utah game. Did you think Utah was running the net harder than usual that game?
No, they ended up there for sure. I mean, they weren't going to stop. And I
Jonathan Quick
mean,
wasn't very happy after the game,
yeah,
but I also think he wasn't happy about the response when Igor went down, even though it was such a weird play because it looked like it was Paterka, right? Paterka,
yeah,
there was barely any contact. I mean, they did make contact, but it wasn't a collision or anything, and it just looked
yeah.
like Igor fell back awkwardly and his left leg kind of swung out in a weird way. But uh, the fact that he's
That's
only on injured reserve, I think,
right.
is better than LTIR, obviously. So that
Yeah. Those two letters, big distinction. And Paterka hits his right leg trying to take it wide. It's so hard to evaluate for me because these goalies put themselves in spots where like I would be on the forever IR if I ever even no one touched me and I got into these spots. Like these guys are Gumby.
right?
And the fact that it wasn't the leg that got made contact with, you're kind of like, oh, that's not great. But the fact it's not LTIR is obviously gives you some comfort. And he's been so elite for them. The Fox one, geez, LTIR, it's like last shift of a game. Didn't get out, you watching the overtime in that game, and I'm like, all right, they're going with Gavrikov to start. That's kind of odd. And um, what happened. It was it's the way it's gone. I mean, anything that can go wrong will go wrong, and it's kind of gone wrong. And Fox coming back, he was awesome. You got to give him a ton of credit. He's left off that roster, and we'll get to that, I know, but he played unbelievable. He was back to, he's done it all year. He's been great all year. So it's a big hole that they're missing uh, with him out. And look, you have you have horses in the lineup that need to produce, and then you see in the Buffalo game, Mika scores and Trocheck scores. JT's coming back again from these injuries that don't. It's not easy to play your game with pain that he's going through, but he's gonna do it. He has to, and he knows he has to. So I think the boys in the room will respect that as well, and hopefully they find something. But they just need to find they just need to find goals, and we'll see what Quickie. He's just been such a great piece to this team since he's been there. We're asking a lot. You're going to
So
ask a lot from
where
him.
is it, where is your faith level in Jonathan Quick to ride this out?
Well, I mean, in the practices that I mentioned, I have seen, you see what he does out there. He's out there for a long time, and he's not going to be able to do that now. He's going to have to rest, use whatever time he can to rest. And then, you know, you wanted to talk. I mean, Spencer Martin
Yeah,
is their call up for this. I wonder if it's just an experience thing.
I think it is. That's my assumption because I mean Dylan Garand has been look, obviously you got Igor, you got Jonathan Quick. I mean, even before Jonathan Quick, it was Halak.
Mhm.
Um, I, I mean,
To trusting.
yeah, I think that he's kind of gotten stuck. He, as in Garand, has gotten stuck behind a loaded goaltending room for the Rangers, which has been the case for a very long time, obviously.
Yeah.
But I can imagine that Dylan Garand is getting a little antsy down there. This to me felt like a perfect opportunity for him to dip his feet in the water, so to say, especially considering the state of the season and uh, obviously Jonathan Quick is getting older. Who knows how much longer he's going to be able to do this? And Dylan Garand is their homegrown guy
Mhm.
who's been in their system for a really long time. So I did find it very interesting that Spencer Martin got the call and not Dylan Garand. But I think you're right. I do think that 9 out of 10 times the NHL is going to go with the experience.
You have to. I think it's a trust thing. It's the same if you're a younger player or especially like a bottom six player or a defenseman that's not running the power play. You need to, if you're a coach, you need to look down, see the back of that jersey and say, I don't necessarily need something to go incredibly right here. I just can't have things fall apart because this player is not ready. Because it's not good for the player. Obviously, it's not good for the team. So you want to put players in positions you think that they're ready for. And I talked to Corey Schneider about this a lot. Um, he's a first round pick in Vancouver. And then like his sophomore year, they signed Luongo to like the 12-year contract or something. And like we're watching something in our locker room and we just kind of all look over at Schneid's and like, you're like, huh, okay. But, to his credit, his agent spoke with him. All his coaches spoke with him. It's like, go take the net from that guy. And so he went to Manitoba in the American League and played, and he was like goalie of the year 2 out of the 3 years he was in the American League. And he'd get called up, and the coaching staff at the time really didn't have any trust in him. If he didn't play perfect right away, they ship him back down. It was, until he kind of just blocked all that out because you're the goalie, you're on an island, and you need to be able to block that out. That's step one of earning the trust. They're not going to hand it to you like they do some, young, fast, talented winger who, if he makes a mistake, there's four other guys that's backing him up. You're the guy. If you make a mistake, you're pulling it out of your net. So it's just it's a totally different position, obviously. So they see what they see. They study this, and they got a guy with NHL experience who's played on a good team in front of them. You give him a check. Here you go. Here's another chance, and he's gonna grab it. There's experience that he's lived through and learned through. Maybe this is a opportunity for him, Spencer Martin, to take it and run with.
I don't think that the fact that things have not been going very well in Hartford helped Duran's case either. So,
100%.
um, yeah, that probably played into it as well. Moving on to the rest of the injury report, which is extremely extensive.
Jeez.
Um, I saw Adam Edstrom at the Winter Classic in a boot and a different kind, not the crutches that go underneath your armpits, but the ones that are clipped onto your wrists, your forearms.
They don't make them
So
long enough for
yeah, probably not. They probably have to
for,
extend them all the way
for us
out.
us leaf eaters. You don't protect the back.
Did you just call yourself a leaf eater?
Yeah.
Um, yeah, Connor Sherry is also in on crutches. He is
Mhm.
on LTIR with a lower body injury, and Noah Laba went down. He's week to week with an upper body injury. He's skating with the team though, in a red non-contact jersey, so that's encouraging. But I mean, Laba has been a fixture on that third
Yeah.
line for almost the entire season. So that was definitely a huge blow. Suddenly they're without a 3C, and they've kind of made a few lineup changes to try. And Brodzinski was there last night, I think. So they
Yeah.
brought up Justin Dowling. So they're really, at this point, yeah, they've got Anton Bleed and Justin Dowling. I think that just
Mhm.
shows you how far into the depth cabinet that they're reaching at this point. On the positive side, JT Miller did return to the lineup Thursday night. We were asking about his rehab and such, and he did say that it was the same injury as his 2 game absence in November. So clearly he re aggravated that, and this was a longer stint on the sidelines for him. But at least they got somebody back in the lineup after losing one after the other for
Yeah.
weeks
Jeez.
at a time.
Millsy's he's trying to make a hit in the neutral zone. He's fighting through something already, and so it just gets aggravated again. And then with Lava, look, Tom Wilson in that Washington game on was that New
Outrageous.
Year's was that New Year's Eve? That's what he's capable of. He
Why
just
he's on Team
decided
Canada.
I'm taking over this game, and he was a menace. And you can tell guys, hey, watch out for this guy until you've lived through it and realize the physical strength that this guy has. There's only a few. Like Dustin Bufflin was one. You'd run him, you'd try to run him, he would not move. And Tom Wilson was another. And I think that's it that I remember. Oh no, Douglas Murray. Douglas Murray was the third. There was three. Where you'd hit him and like nothing, no movement at all. And you're kind of like, well, for me anyway, I'm like, that's not supposed to happen. And with Murray and with Buffalo, they had like 30 to 40 pounds on me at 240. That's so it makes a little sense. Wilson's lighter than I am. He is that strong. It is insane how strong he is and powerful. And now Noah Laba is very well aware of that because Noah Laba, he's been playing against men all year and he's done a great job. And the physicality hasn't gotten the better of him at all. And that's just you know, you can't brace yourself. You need to try and spin off the hits from Thomas Wilson. And then he went out and just,
And he
geez.
scored.
Listen, I
I
want
mean,
to say this too, though. Like Sam Carrick had the response, and it was a clean hit. But he said, "There's just no way you're leaving the ice surface right now without fighting me." And And Tom Wilson's bigger. And he's well experienced in fighting, obviously. But Sam Carrick, and that is, why that guy, people should love Sam Carrick on this team. He is such a team first guy. Getting over the flu, too. Just getting over the flu to play an afternoon game. He's like, I'm going Tom Wilson right now. Have to. I loved it. I mean, it was unbelievable. So I give a lot of credit to that guy. He's nails.
Taking accountability Thursday night too. He was saying that he wants to chip in more offensively. So,
Yeah,
that's your point.
last year went in a little bit more. He had an overtime goal last year. Remember?
Yeah.
Uh, he knows, like, look, they're not asked to, they're not put in positions to do that. Doesn't matter. He's like, we gotta get more offensively done. And they've had shifts. They were done, they were flying around. They had a ton of chances in that game. They just want to bury. They got to bury.
That was a banner day for Tom Wilson and the
Oh man.
Capitals. Wilson was named to Team Canada just hours earlier. So that's a great segue to our Olympic portion, which is my favorite part, if I'm being honest. the
Always go to
Mollie to
Milan.
Milan, the
Yep.
Mollie to Milan campaign worked, everybody. So big thanks to everybody who
Congratulations.
participated in that. That definitely helped a little bit. So I appreciated everybody who commented. My editor was like, I see you have a Mollie to Milan campaign underway. And I was like, oh, you got to do what you got to do.
Worked.
um, yeah, it did work. It did work. The New York Post will have boots on the ground in Milan in
Hey,
February. We'll be very excited. We'll be covering JT Miller and Vincent Trocheck for Team USA, along with Mike Sullivan and Chris Drury and David Quinn on the management coaching staff side.
mhm.
Mika Zibanejad for Team Sweden. That was always going to be a guarantee, I think.
Yeah.
So ups to him.
Yep. There it is.
Larry got this for me for my birthday after the Four Nations, so this is my favorite.
Jeez. That is, yeah.
It's the best jersey. Oh my God, the Four
Are you
Nations
bringing it? Are
jerseys for
you
our
bringing
Rangers.
it?
I can't bring it. I can't
You got to
bring
wear
it.
it.
Stop. That's
Yeah.
not professional. We're unbiased journalists over here at the New York Post. It hangs in my room for background job.
Oh,
You're like,
yeah. Yeah.
all right.
All right. We got an
Oh,
interruption. We got an interruption here.
we hear a guest.
You want to say hi? You can't hear anything though. This is Isla. She likes to come in. She likes to wear hats too. It's the wrong team though, so we'll keep it.
And then Adam Fox, a major snub for Team USA in an absolute shocker. Him and Chris Kreider were the only players left off from the Four Nations roster, I believe, for Team USA. What were your immediate thoughts when you saw that?
You know what? Look at it big picture, right? So it's Seth Jones leaves Chicago, goes down and plays, some of his arguably best hockey in Florida, wins the Stanley Cup. You had last year, Adam Fox he's not going to be on the top unit or a power play unit. And maybe it's just like, where does he fit? And I think he's defended unbelievable. I think he's played really good 200-foot hockey. And this is the other one. And I think that it's just kind of how it is. Like if Quinn goes down or if Werenski were to go down, and I don't want anybody to get injured, obviously, but like then he's probably your next call. Now he's hurt again, so that's awful news. But
I don't know if
I
he's going to be eligible now or
yeah,
available, I should say.
but for roles, right? It's not like, is it shocking? Because I think he's an unbelievable elite defenseman. Yes, but can I sort of see the vision there? What Billy Guerin's trying to do? Yeah, I can. Puts Mike Sullivan in a hell of a spot. It's not ideal, like, but I think they probably were communicating throughout the whole process as they said they were. I mean, yeah, is it? I don't know. You want to have elite players that can make plays and as many of them as possible. Are you overlooking or overthinking the whole final game in the Four Nations. Hopefully not. Hopefully this is the best team and they think it's the best team. So I don't know. It's just a hard it's I feel terrible for him. I think he's played some of his best hockey, but right now it is that's where they're at. And they have obviously they have Werenski and they have Quinn Hughes ahead of him as in terms of power play guys.
They are looking for players that can play specific roles. They're not thinking of a team of all-stars. They're thinking of a team in every
Right.
true sense of the word, which is verbatim what Mike Sullivan has said multiple times
Right.
this season. And the fact that Adam Fox has been a conversation, a topic of conversation since the Four Nations makes this less surprising. But I think the fact that it still actually came true and happened is shocking in and itself. Like how did we get here? That
No.
Adam, like, because it felt like a year ago it was a foregone conclusion that he would be
Right.
on Team USA, like without a doubt. And I still think that Bill Guerin would probably feel that way a year ago. Naturally, he was one of the first names on Team USA.
Mm.
The notion that they were put off by his Four Nations tournament as a whole definitely played a factor into it. I mean, it had to have. Um, Greg Wyshynski of ESPN specifically asked Bill Guerin on the Zoom call if it was about the Connor McDavid overtime winner in the championship game, and if that specific play, which I wish it was phrased as the Four Nations as a whole, but he
Well, it
asked
was a
specifically
great,
about that play.
great response.
It was a great response. He said, well, I think it's exactly that. It's perception. And you know what? That's for you guys to wrestle with and talk about. That's not for us. If you think we made a decision on one play, then you must not think we're very smart. Other than that, I'm going to keep those conversations private. Our decision was made and we're moving forward.
Mm.
So he obviously shot down, which, what else is he going to say? Especially, it's not going to be on one play, but I do believe that it was Four Nations as a whole. I do think that they think he looked a little exposed, and in that championship game, obviously that final play, it was, he was skating around the net, kind of chasing the play, and Austin Matthews veered out of position as well.
Mhm.
So it was kind of there was a lot going on there, but I do think that the Four Nations sample size really put them off Adam Fox, but it is still, as a concept, I mean, statistically, he is the third best player in the in defenseman in the National Hockey League since he came into the league. So
Mhm.
the fact that it's gotten to this point and he's not on Team USA, just it's a crushing blow for him. And I'm very curious to see how he proceeds and what kind of player he turns into with this as a chip on his shoulder. I mean, he always talks about how he's very self motivated, and I believe that, but this is just, I mean, this is a career moment for him, if you
Yeah.
ask me.
Yeah. I mean, he's handled it. He came back and played great. So, very professional of him. It's all he can really control. I mean, last year wasn't a good year, start to finish for Adam Fox. And then the Four Nations on top of it. That was a different level of hockey. And yeah, you go the wrong way on a rim behind the net. So the puck goes to Marner, who's kind of standing still and shouldn't be able to pass to the slot. He's not the only one that made a mistake or missed that read, but they were trying to protect him in that game because it wasn't going perfect for him. US ends up icing the puck. They can't change. Then it happened. That's so you look at all those things, and that's not information you're just going to forget about. It's not the whole story, but I mean, look, there's other guys that haven't been perfect in the last 2 years either that have close relationships with Mike Sullivan too, that need to uh, obviously be ready to play. And one of them's in Boston, one of them's there's a couple guys. There's been injuries too. Slavin hasn't played a lot of hockey this year, so you're not taking him off though. He's the best shutdown D in the country. So yeah, it's you look at other guys, Robertson in Dallas, like everyone's like, how can you keep this guy off? Look at his, and it doesn't surprise me. Like they think they have enough goals, and if Robertson goes a little cold, what else is he really doing? Doesn't play a particular brand that those games turned into. It doesn't surprise me. And if you want to just go to the hockey DB page of all these guys and snap and just pick the team that way, go ahead. That's fine. They'll get run out of the building.
Thought Fox handled it as well as he possibly could have too. He did stand up for himself, which I was very happy to see. He said, I thought my play this year was worthy of it.
Yeah.
Track record as well. It's out of my hands at a certain point. The decision is the decision. I guess that's how it goes. But I think he did have to say, because he has played a lot better this season and his track record. He's
It's
right.
been
His
good.
track
It's been
record,
really good.
he's one of the best defensemen in the league. So just a really tough blow. And the other side of it that I've thought extensively about is the fact that because obviously at the end of the day, this was Billy Guerin's final decision. He has final say. He's the general manager. That's it. Obviously, he's going to consult with his head coach and Mike Sullivan and the rest of his management staff. But the fact that John Cooper, Team Canada's head coach, was able to get his guys on the roster, for example, Anthony Cirelli over, say, Sam Bennett,
Dude.
says a lot
Yeah.
that situation. And yet Sullivan, Quinn, and Drury couldn't make big enough of a case to convince Bill Guerin. So that to me says a lot about the way that Fox and the Rangers in general are viewed by the rest of the league. That was kind of the takeaway that I took. And maybe that's a little aggressive,
No,
but
I think they're separate things. It's John Cooper's just he was getting his guy.
the fact that all three of them weren't able to make, I mean, either that or Bill Guerin made his decision immediately after Four Nations. That also could have been part of it as well. Like there was no
But
convincing him.
Cirelli was excellent in Four Nations, and he's been
Yeah.
excellent in playoffs, and it just hasn't been great to start. Now, Sam Bennett was the best player in Four Nations in that final game, I thought.
That's what I'm
And
saying.
I'm like, and then, what did he do after? No, just won the Conn Smythe. But I think, Sorelli, it's not Sorelli or Bennett. It was Wilson or Bennett. And I'm like, if I'm USA, I'm like, thank God it's not both of them. But there's probably guys, you like playing some guys, you don't like other guys. And there's, if you look at, I would love to ask all the GMs of their respective nations, like, who are you most surprised that Canada didn't take? Who are you most surprised US didn't take? Who would you like when it's over after the tournament and just being like, like down the road because it's like right after the tournament, only one team's winning gold, right? So it's like there's going to be disappointment, but just be like, hey, when you saw that list, were you
Yeah.
happy that that guy was left off type thing? And I guarantee you, that's just how it is. That's how it goes.
The Sam Bennett was definitely a major,
Paul
especially
Maurice went to bat for
watching.
him. Paul Maurice went to bat
Yeah.
for him after the fact in
Yeah,
the
he
US.
did.
He's the best hockey he's played in the last month. He said that before the Winter Classic, I think,
Yeah.
right?
Yes, he did. Yeah, he
So,
gave a great response to that question. It was even funnier because he was like, I thought I was going to get out of here without having to answer that question.
yeah.
But nope, sorry. Gonna have to address it.
Hmm.
There were a couple other Rangers that were in the running. Urho Vakanainen was not named to Finland, but he is in the reserve pool. Not that big of a surprise. He has not played that much hockey
Hmm.
this season for the Rangers, has served as a healthy scratch a lot. And then prospect Adam Sikora didn't make Slovakia, which I was a little surprised about because he's been their guy. He did really well in Worlds for them. So, but like I said, Hartford has been having a really tough season. So that probably didn't help anybody's case in that department. But only let's see, how many days until I leave for
Yeah. What's the
Milan?
countdown?
Let's get a countdown going here. Let's see.
Seriously.
29 days.
Wow.
29 days.
I leave
Woo.
for the Olympics.
What are you doing? Are you just working like a regular any old trip? Are you doing any sort of
It's gonna be, I'm gonna be working like a dog.
yeah,
It's not, we're not just doing hockey. We're gonna do other events too. And
really?
yeah,
What do
yeah.
you got?
I don't know if we'll be going to the mountains, to the Alps for
Oh
skiing or
man,
anything like that, but I'm sure we'll go to figure skating and
nice.
speed skating. Yeah, we're like in the center of Milan, so like we're really close to all the arenas, but hopefully the ice hockey rink is finished in
What a
time
joke.
and
Like what a joke.
Go ahead. Boiler
What
point.
it's a joke. Yet 7 years.
I wonder how that
happened.
They went from like, all right, here's your rink. It's going to be NHL side. All right, no, it's not. Sorry. Oh, okay. Here's 14th. No, it's only going to be 11,000. Sorry.
Yeah,
Like, like
3,000 less
Tickets.
enough with the siestas or whatever the hell. Just get to work. What have you been doing besides just counting your money?
Like a barn. Like the footage of it right now, it just looks like an absolute barn. I'm very, very curious to see what the finished product's going to look like. But that I was reading, I think Emily Kaplan had a great story on it in ESPN, just an update on the whole situation. And the consensus is no matter what, this tournament is happening. The NHL is going to the Olympics. Like they don't care what the circumstances are, what the accommodations are. It doesn't matter. They're going. Nothing matters.
Just made a
Um,
rink in, we just put a rink in Miami. The hell are you doing? This is the greatest live sporting event to go to in the world. And I'm biased, obviously. But I played all the sports. I've gone to all the sports, and there's nothing even close. And you're screwing it up. They suck. The IOC stinks. I hate them.
Hopefully they figure it out.
Yeah.
Emily Kaplan was saying that or I think it was her, somebody was saying that they're worried about bathrooms now and the concessions and all that. Like the fan experience now is the major concern now that they actually have a sheet of ice on the ground.
I cannot wait for your
Um,
reporting on this.
yeah,
You
it,
should
it
go
might
now.
be.
You should go now.
Yeah, you think the Post would pick up a quick round trip just to check in on the progress?
Should do a series like Emily in Paris, Mollie in Milan.
Mollie and Milan.
Every day you're just,
Um,
they put in 9 more seats today. That's all I got.
lucky nine winners.
Christmas.
No, it's going to be amazing. It's going to be awesome. Committed. I think Matthew Kachuk said on this podcast said something like, "I don't care. I'm going. I'm going over there.
Yeah.
Don't ask me. I'm going. It doesn't matter." So I think it's going to be fun. It's going to be a good time, and
Mollie. Mollie will
Molly.
be.
we did hear from the
Rangers owner for the
Yeah.
first time in quite a bit. I think since 2023 was the last time he did an interview.
Really?
Yeah. And he gave the Rangers, Drury, and Sullivan a very large vote of confidence in his WFAN interview. Um, he was asked if he still has full trust in Chris Drury. And this answer should surprise nobody, considering this is what we've been reporting for the last year and a half now. He said, yes, absolutely. He and Mike Sullivan are installing a new culture into that club, and that does not happen overnight. I'm being patient. He went on to call Chris Drury a winner and a competitor. He won himself. He can't stand to lose. He's probably not happy right now. I know he's not happy right now. Neither is Mike. So good to get a vote of confidence from the owner, but I mean, this is not a surprise. We reported, I mean, the fact that they announced Chris Drury's contract extension in a formal press release, which never happens, that was a message to not only everybody in the organization, but just all the fans that Chris Drury is here and he's staying and he has a pretty long leash, it seems. So, and Mike Sullivan, that hire was, you know, to come in and build something. And you need to give somebody time to build something. So it's not surprising that Dolan would give such a vote of confidence to his team because this is they've committed, I think, to this group of leadership here, and this is who they want to see what they can do. Obviously, Dolan didn't give Jeff Gorton or JD that long of a leash, but it does seem that Chris Drury does. So I wanted to ask you though, Brian, obviously playing for the Rangers, what was it like having an owner like James Dolan? I know that he comes into the room every once in a while, and just what was that dynamic like for you?
Well, it was, listen, the way I came over from LA and I was kind of up and down in LA, but just like the first day I got there, I'm at the practice rink and I'm like, this is unbelievable. This is the practice rink. And then like I got traded and I was on a two-way and I got, a phone call from Jason Vogel, who was, with the team helping, and just like an hour-long phone call about what to expect, where I would live, how, like the way we were treated it was ridiculous. We were so everything was put in place for us so we could perform to the best of our abilities. Not a cent was spared. And like I'll give you a great example. We're supposed to play the Bruins um, in an afternoon game on a Saturday, and it's Friday, and we're at the airport that we leave from. And the plane that the Knicks had used was coming back to get us and take us up to Boston. And birds flew into the plane. The plane had to, obviously, it landed, it was fine. It wasn't like a Sullenberger situation, but it was on its way down already. And the plane was out of commission. We couldn't use our team plane. And I would say at the time there's 30 teams in the league, 29 teams would bus. And we got a G4, a G5, and two helicopters to take all of us up within like an hour. And that was James Dolan just doing us so solid. And any interaction I had with him was always pleasant. I mean, he knew who I was, which I thought, like my first year there, I was like, you got all this going on. And, he treated me awesome all the time. Mr. Dolan we had Christmas parties with like 350 people that was just paid for over at, the Central Park on the rink. We're all skating. Their families are invited. And there's a sit down dinner, like things you don't have to do at all. He does. And, he's not coming in the room and doing X's and O's with us. That's for sure. And he knows not to do that. But, we, yeah, I think understood the stress of the environment when you're playing for John Tortorella and in a market like we had. And he, tried to, throw a few perks our way. He certainly did. It was, look, you get to play for the New York Rangers. That's one thing. And it's an incredible thing. And you're playing at Madison Square Garden, which is another incredible thing. There's other things that come with it. Like you don't get to keep any of your money, especially when you're a guy like me. You don't, you get to deal with sort of the city and the traffic, but you embrace that and start to love that. All the other stuff, it's like this is the most incredible thing ever. And he's the reason it can kind of happen that way because teams that have owners that cut corners don't win. They never do. And I know the Rangers haven't, won it in a long time, but it's not because of the ownership. And it doesn't surprise me that he's put Drew in place and you think about them sort of rebuilding, but then they get Panarin and they have Igor and so they were at a weird spot for a little bit. Did the high picks work exactly how they thought? Probably not, but you still have enough talent there. And then what Mike Sullivan's done, Chris Drury brings in Mike Sullivan as soon as he's not even done. He leaves the Penguins and
He was unemployed for 4 days.
That's my
Yeah.
favorite thing to
And
say.
honestly, it might have been 4 hours, honestly,
Yeah.
because
Yeah, I was gonna say in the grand scheme of it, what we don't know, it might have been 4 hours.
yeah, they haven't quit on him, and it hasn't gone right, and they have not quit on him. The way the brand of hockey that they're playing, if they have a couple more goals, is a winning brand of hockey. So big picture like that, I understand everyone's frustrations. I think the players are frustrated, the coaching staff's frustrated, and we are, but I don't. I think they're in a better spot now than even like last year at this time.
Well,
Floor from last season. So anything I think is gonna be better than that.
Yeah.
I gotta know, were you in the helicopter?
I was originally supposed to be in the helicopter, and I'm like, hey guys, I'm not going in that thing. And someone was like, I'll go in, and I ended up going on one of those G4s.
On the actual plane
Yeah,
where, everything is enclosed.
yeah.
I had to know because I just wanted a visual of you in a helicopter.
I
That
had
would have been
Rick Nash had set something up where we did take a helicopter from around where the practice rink was down to the city for an event once. His wife was working with one of the private aviation companies. I'm not sure which. And that was more like a 20-minute ride. So I was like, all right, I'll do that.
that a Westchester?
Uh, I think so.
I feel like it had to be if you were coming
from the practice facility.
Yeah, I think it was after a practice. Again, I'm a goldfish, so I forget so much stuff at this point.
All right. I think it's a good spot for us to stop. Thank you guys for listening as always. Leave us some comments down below. Give us a thumbs up. Do you think the season's over with Igor and Fox being out? What are your thoughts on the Rangers who made the Olympic team, the ones who didn't? And we'll speak again next week. Thanks.